Hello everyone. I hope you all are having a fabulous evening, because we are about to enter the battle for the Crystal Empire. Chapter 11. Written by Foxgear, read by Icy Knight. Dusk awoke to the sound of hammering and shouting outside. Each thud felt like a direct hit to her brain as she stumbled out of bed. Very quickly, she discovered something was wrong. Her mane twisted around her like a robe as she fell onto the floor, wrapping her up in a cocoon of hair. That wasn't the only thing that was different. She couldn't put her hoof on it, but she felt longer? No, bigger? She blinked, noticing something just above her vision. Quickly, she untangled herself and reached up to touch it, noticing the ground seemed further away than usual. The object was long and pointy in the top of her head. "Is this my horn?" she cried with surprise, feeling its length with her hoof. By Luna, it had to be at least a foot longer. "This can't be real," Dusk said frantically, running for the vanity mirror across the room. She scrambled over to the vanity after much slipping and tripping on her long mane and came face to face with her changes. "Is this me?" Dusk touched muzzle with her hoof, poking and prodding, even slapping her cheek just to ensure it wasn't a dream. It wasn't. This was reality. She was older. At least as old as Applejack, she guessed. "This is awesome!" Dusk squealed, bouncing around the room with glee, only to end up tripping on her mane again and accidentally blasting a hole through the wall with her magic. She stared at the smoldering crystal with disbelief. There was no way her magic was that strong. She hadn't even been casting a spell. Yet she blasted through solid crystal? That is not possible. Once again, untangling herself, walking over to inspect the hole, peering through to make sure no pony was hurt on the other side. Staring back at her was a large green eye. "I see you are awake." "Whoa! Princess Luna! Don't do that!" Dusk screamed, scrambling back from the hole. Slipping on her mane, she fell on her back, releasing another magical blast. This time it shot through the ceiling. "It seems you're having trouble controlling your magic," Luna said, entering the room, circling slowly around the fallen mirror. "Do you know why?" Dusk shook her head. Luna figured that would be the case. As smart and talented Dusk was, she was still only a foal. How any pony could possibly understand the advanced complex magic of the Crystal Heart. It was magic even beyond her understanding, let alone Dusk. Still, the princess could speculate. Helping the aged mare to her feet, she led her over to the vanity. Sitting Dusk down in front of the mirror, Luna retrieved a pair of scissors from somewhere with her magic and began cutting her long hair into something more manageable. You have to excuse my lack of skill when it comes to mane styling. I haven't had to cut my mane in 200 years or so. Whenever it was that Celestia figured out how to turn our manes into what you see now. And it chatted, snipping locks of Dusk's hair off a little bit at a time. How short do you want it? You will be going into battle soon. Shorter hair would be more practical. But having some length wouldn't be bad either. And our spells, that makes having long hair very useful. Why, I remember the one spell Celestia and I found. It makes your hair as strong as steel, combined with another that lets you turn your hair, that lets you control your hair. It makes a very useful attack and defense combo. What do you think, Dusk? Some length would be nice, replied Dusk, closing her eyes as Luna cut the hair covering her face. Could you make it kind of spiky or mishappen? I don't like it when my hair is even. It looks like a bowl cut Dad used to give me. Luna chuckled and did as requested, adding little spikiness to Dusk's bangs, and then resumed cutting the back, deciding to cut it just below her neck. Once Dusk's mane was cut to manageable length, Luna began on working on her tail. You're awfully quiet. Something on your mind, Dusk? Asked Luna. Of course there was something wrong with her, but she wanted Dusk to tell her. The muscles in Dusk's back tensed at the question. Her black eyes widened, telling Luna something was bothering the young mare than just her new height. I killed one of them. One of those black insectoid things. A changeling? Dusk nodded. Yes, I killed a changeling. I see, Luna replied. A pang of regret struck through her heart as she thought of little Dusk killing, even if it was a changeling. I'm sorry. No pony should have to do something like that, especially a pony as young as you. Tell me, Dusk, how do you feel about it? Dusk sniffed as tears rolled down her cheeks. Hiccups rocked her body as she turned and threw herself into Luna's chest. Sad. I feel really, really sad. I want Daddy. I want to go home. But I know we can't. They're still out there. I only knocked them away. They'll be back and more ponies will die. Because I can't. I didn't want to kill them. Dusk cried as Luna gently rubbed her back. Shh. It's okay. It's okay, cooed Luna. No pony here holds anything against you for that. You did the best you could. There is nothing wrong with not wanting to kill. Nothing wrong at all. Dusk pushed away from Luna and looked up at the princess with big black eyes. But there will be more killing. And I have to kill again too. I have to fight, won't I? Because of how much magic I have. And don't lie. And say I won't have to either. Not now. Not ever. Don't lie to me. Yes, Luna replied, bowing her head as her horn touched Dusk. You'll have to fight, and you have to kill. And I'm so sorry. There's nothing I can do to prevent that. Luna held Dusk close, burying her muzzle in the mare's mane to hide her own tears. Outside the castle, Applejack ran through the makeshift training field. She and a few of the crystal ponies had hastily constructed per Luna's orders. There was a pony in need of some special training, the princess said. Training that only Applejack could teach. Night hunter training, the toughest form of training in all of the night patrol. She ran the course again. The turns and weaves were tighter than the standard ones, with spikes placed around every post, every jump, and an uncountable number of pitfalls. Even a hair margin of error could lead to serious injury in this training, which is why Applejack was confused as to why the princess wanted whoever it was to go through it. The training was designed to build maximum skill in such amount of time. But 2 days? No pony could learn that fast. The training probably wouldn't even help them in battle so soon. So why do it? Is everything ready, Applejack? Luna asked, entering the courtyard with the familiar mare at her side. Applejack had to look a little closer. When she saw those black eyes, she knew who it was. You cannot be serious, princess, said Applejack. Her voice trembled with controlled anger. Confidently, she matched the princess's pose, standing as tall as she could to match the princess's height. She wasn't going to budge on this. She's not ready. Luna regarded with a blank expression. That is not for you to decide, nor is it mine. I've went over the dangers, and Dusk believes she can handle it. So she will be tested. Besides, she needs to adapt to her new body, and physical training is the best medicine for that. But night hunter training? Why that? Why not normal training? You don't have time for that, said Luna with finality. Applejack's ears drooped. Placing her hoof under her chin, Luna raised Applejack's head so that they were looking eye to eye. I don't want to do this either, but it's what must be done. Besides, Luna leaned to whisper into Applejack's ear. You and I both know Dusk is no ordinary pony. It's time to accept that, Applejack. Applejack pulled away and looked at Dusk, searching for signs of fear, and found the face of a determined mare staring back at her. Beneath that, she knew the same foal she rescued was still in there, probably afraid, missing home and her daddy, but still willing to fight. She lowered her hat. Dusk was just like her in that regard, she supposed. Alright, let's get started, Applejack said, going to the start line. Keep pace with me, do not slow down for any reason, and do what I do perfectly. Right, replied Dusk, taking up position next to Applejack. Let's go. Both mares took off at full gallop. Luna sat down to watch them as they made their way through the first set of obstacles. A bunch of posts spaced about a foot apart from each other and covered in barbed wire. Applejack weaved between them seamlessly while Dusk fumbled around, stopping barely in time. Applejack yelled at her to hurry up and proceeded to the next obstacle, altering high jumps with more barbed wire and pitfalls hidden randomly around. Again, Applejack made it through with little effort. while Dusk barely made it out with only a few scratches. Next came the hard part. Spinning, moving barrels that shot arrows. Applejack had a little difficulty, but managed to dodge them all. Dusk was forced to use a magic shield to avoid getting hit. "Did I break the rules?" Dusk asked, as they trotted up to Luna, who only smiled at Dusk's question, finding amusement in Applejack's stern face and silence to Dusk's actions. "Don't tease her now, Applejack," said Luna, heaving her hoof at the earthmere, who broke out into a grin. "I don't remember explaining any rules. You made it through on your first time with only a little damage. You're impressive, but you still need improvement." Dusk looked between the two older mares with a frown. "I don't get it. I'm not in trouble for using magic?" "Who said you couldn't use magic?" inquired Luna. "You did what you needed to stop the attack from hurting you. That's good instincts. That's what this training is for, to train your instincts to sense and avoid danger. There are no rules when it comes to surviving, Dusk. Remember that." "So I'm not in trouble?" "No," said Applejack, grinning ear to ear. "But no ponies said we were done either. Now get back in there, and this time you have to avoid me too." "What?" Applejack punched the ground at Dusk's feet, creating a hole. "I suggest you start running." Luna chuckled as Dusk took off like a bolt, with Applejack hot on her heels. Of course, the Earth Mare was taking it easy on Dusk, attacking slowly and predictably. Each attack, just barely missing the unicorn. That was part of the trick in this next part. After each attack, Dusk dodged or blocked. Applejack would attack a little faster each time, while adding a little more power to the attacks. By the time Dusk made it back through the finish line, a line of craters followed her path. This time she had more than a few scratches. "Are we done?" asked Dusk, panting for breath. She looked up to Applejack and Luna with hopeful eyes, but instinctively regretted it as they looked at her with smirks upon her lips. "Again, I'm guessing?" "Correct, only this time you'll have to be dodging attacks from both of us," said Luna, charging up her horn. Dusk didn't move at first, so Luna blasted the ground next to the unicorn's face to get her moving. She took off with Applejack giving chase. Luna fired several more magical blasts. Nothing that would hurt Dusk, but would stun her, which would leave her open to Applejack's attack. Dusk did extremely well, summoning magical shields to block Luna's spell and dodging Applejack's attack, which were always getting faster and closer to hitting her. After one attack, she split the ground open. Dusk realized how serious things were. "Very good. Very good indeed. You're almost a natural," praised Luna. "Next time, try firing back at me. Defense is good, but sometimes it's easier to take out an opponent. Now I believe a short break is in order. I must go inspect the defenses. Send her through at least 2 more times, Applejack, and then send her to my room when you're done. From there we'll begin your magic lessons, Dusk." "Okay," panted Dusk as she collapsed on her belly. "Roger that, Luna. I'll get her whipped into shape." I have faith in you. I'll see you two later. Taking her leave, Luna made her way to the front of the castle, where a fierce fury was overlooking the defenses. Crystal unicorns were working around the clock to forge together a possible defense, breaking down the crystals from the decorations and useless trinkets. Anything and everything was being used, even the royal family's jewels, though Luna secretly kept one gem in particular, Symphony's engagement ring, tucked away for safekeeping. How goes the defense, Fury? The Renin clicked his tongue dismissively. They could be better. This place has too many windows and too many doors, and we have few to cover them all. We are working on covering all the windows and creating choke points, as well as setting up traps and rooms to help compensate for our small numbers. Our best bet will be to stay close together and not spread our forces too thin. A parallax. Brilliant idea. What manner of traps have you constructed? The monster-killing kind, replied Fury, as several crystal unicorns marched past with said traps. Luna watched them, leave with a grim expression. Those could harm our troops just much as theirs when they go off. Why make them? Why not something more suitable for close spaces like spike traps or hot oil? Fury snorted, leading the way to the balcony. Pointing with his claw, he directed Luna's attention to the city. This is not the only place where traps will be laid. The further out you go, the more lethal the traps. I plan to have a small number of ponies engage with the enemy in the outer rim to slow their ground forces. Meanwhile, me and the remaining Pegasus will stay low and draw their aerial troops to the ground for anti-air traps. Our goal is to take out as many as possible. For every one of us they kill, I want them to lose 100. What of Somra and Krissa? What do you have in mind for them? Asked Luna, her mind going over the cans and what-ifs of battle. No pony could take Somra or Krissa. Even she would be hard-pressed to fight them one-on-one. Hell, she and Fury barely fought Somra alone. Worried? Fury asked, causing Luna to whip her head around with shock. It's okay to be worried, to be scared. And I'm sure you already know what it takes to overcome those things. So don't worry, Applejack will be there to support you, and possibly Dusk from what I understand. And if you should need it, you can simply call for me and I'll come to your aid. We all will. We are here to fight with you, Princess, to the end if we must. Now look to the setting sun. That is what I'm most afraid of. In the chambers. The bed felt like the softest thing ever as Dusk threw herself upon it with the last of her strength. Her everything hurt. Her muscles ached, her lungs burned, even her hooves, hard and durable, ached, and it even hurt to breathe sometimes. Looks like you had a rough day, chimed Luna, entering the room, her horn glowing with magic as she waved it over Dusk's body. Does that feel better? It's a healing spell, but you'll have to eat for it to work at full effect. Dusk cringed at the thought of food. Her abdomen hurt to the point that she didn't think she could eat anything and keep it down. She didn't want to be wasteful since they had so little food to go around. Just some water, please. I don't think my stomach anything right now. Very well. I'll mix in some flour and fruits so you can at least get some nutrition, said Luna, presenting a strange multicolored drink that smells like flowers and strawberries. Now drink up, or I will force feed you like a newborn foal. And don't think I won't do it. Dusk gagged at the thought and levitated the drink to her mouth, taking dainty sips before chugging the entire mixture down with one gulp. That was good. Can I have more? No. It's an energy drink. Too much and your heart will enlarge and explode. That can't be true. Dusk quivered, imagining just that happening to her. Luna laughs made her cheeks burn as she glared at the princess of the night. That's not funny. Tell me stories like that. I bet it isn't true. Luna stifled her laughter. Well, it's not exactly a lie either. If a pony were to drink 20 of these in a row, their heart would explode. But one or two will just keep you up and hyper for an entire day. Why would some pony drink 20 in a row if that was the dangers? If it was that dangerous? Some ponies don't know when enough is enough. Now enough idle chat. It's time for your magic lessons, said Luna, getting serious and levitating several books and diagrams onto the bed. Let's start by explaining your attack spells. You know, a basic, magical blast, and shield. So now you need to learn how to break through a magical shield, and this spell is a good one for doing just that. Magical Drillhorn Blast, Dusk read questionably. Who came up with that name? Star Swirled, now pay attention. To use this spell, you must imagine your magic rotating clockwise and, I hate how he words these things. Luna complained, closing the book. Just watch and do what I do. Dusk nodded as Luna charged up her horn with magic. Slowly, the magic began to turn, gradually spinning up until it looked like a spinning drill. Taking aim, Luna fired the magic drill at the wall. It buried through instantly and continued to drill its way through one of the corresponding pillars around the palace and then into the ground where it finally stopped. Luna and Dusk sat in silence as they looked at the smoldering hole. Shouts of panic arose from the courtyard as soldiers, thinking it was an enemy attack, sprang into action. We do not speak of this, said Luna, rushing off to quell the noise. And don't do what I did. That I told you not to speak of. What? Good girl. After the situation was taken care of, with Luna passing the attack off as an accident with no possible way to identify the one who fired the spell, she sent the guards back to their post and returned to her room to resume Dusk's lesson, only to find her sound asleep on the bed. Knowing that a good rest was sometimes better the most brutal of training sessions. She let the tanned mare sleep. "Shouldn't you be getting to bed too?" asked Applejack, walking up from behind. The orange mare sat down next to Luna, following her gaze up into the stars. "They sure are pretty. What do you call that one over there? The one that bunch of stars that look like a bucking bronco?" "I don't know. I never named it. Maybe I should name it after you." "I shall call it Apple Bucker." Luna laughed, bursting into a fit of laughter. Applejack stared at her till the laughter stopped. Luna's smile quickly faded, replaced with a frown. Far out at the borders of the city sat their enemy. The blue wall separating them was cracked and weakening by the hour. They would break through sooner rather than later. "I guess 2 days was a bit hopeful, wasn't it?" said Luna summarily. "A shame we didn't have more time." "Yeah," whispered Applejack, wondering if Nightingale had made it back. She hoped with every fiber of her being, but it was looking more and more likely her friend didn't make it home. And even if she did, it may be too late to save them. "You should really get some rest." Yes, we should. Though my bed is occupied by another. Mind sharing yours?" Applejack blushed red. "I guess, but strictly palladic, right?" "If you insist," said Luna with a shrug, as she strutted over to Applejack's bed. Applejack gulped as she climbed in beside her. "I won't tell you your special sun pony if you don't tell my sister, okay? She gets jealous when I cuddle with other ponies. So I've noticed." "Good night, Luna." "I thank you. I did work very hard on it tonight," replied Luna, giggling as Applejack rolled her eyes as she wrapped herself in the blanket. "'Tis only a joke, Applejack. Good night and sweet dreams." Morning came too quickly, it felt. The night passed over with no incident. However, not everything was well. The survivors of the Crystal Empire woke to find their only means of protection nearly gone. The shield made by the Crystal Heart was cracking all the way from top to base. From the outside, King Somra hurled gigantic blasts of magic at the shield. His latest attack struck as Luna emerged onto the balcony in Symphony's armor. "Princess Luna, good morning to you. I see you're trying out a new look. I must say, pink is a stark contrast to your normal regalia," said Somra, smirking. He observed the defensive positions of the Crystal Army, finding them in very poor conditions. He was certain his army could crush them the moment the shield dropped, but he wanted to try and persuade Luna one last time. "I also see you are dug in for a good fight, but it would be a waste of life. Don't you agree? Here is my offer to you and your ponies. Surrender to me and be spared. Become my queen." "Second queen," interrupted Carissa. "Right, second queen. Not only could we take Equestria, but beyond. Think about it, Luna. Subjects that love and worship you rather than fear you. No more pesky nobles, no Celestia to outshine you. Think of it, Luna." Luna flew to the edge of the dome so she could face Somra face to face, fierce fury by her side. A tempting offer, Somra, but one only a weak fool would accept. My sister is on her way, and she will be bringing the wrath of Equestria upon you, I assure you. Somra laughed. You assume Celestia is coming, perhaps due to some notion of hope that some pony managed to escape? Well, I suggest you give up. I know of your little runaway, and rest assured, she has long since departed from this world. Show me the body, then. Instead in seeing your own dead soldier, you grow more beautiful to me with every conversation. Very well. Bring the corpse! Ordered Somra. 2 changelings flew off and returned with the body of Nightingale. I will happily accept that surrender now, Luna. Luna glared at the Unicorn King as she ejected her vocals. Fool. As if we could be fooled by such simple trickery. For we know our fair Nightingale possesses a piercing mark above her marehood, which your dim-witted trickster has forgotten. She didn't have a piercing. I flew right under her. Oh, said the disguised changeling. Now it was Luna's turn to smirk as Somra blistered with anger. My ponies, help comes. Hold strong till Celestia arrives. We fight for the glory of the Crystal Empire and Equestria. Attack! Attack now! Kill them all! Bellowed Somra, unleashing blast of magic that shattered the dome. The armies of Meridor poured into the city as the defenders of the city took action. For Equestria! Shouted Luna, leading the charge. Headstrong for Somra, their horns intersected as the battle broke out around them. Luna flew up, Somra falling with his skeletal wings. The group of changelings tried to slow her down, but Fierce Fury and his crystal Pegasus intercepted. Now high above the battlefield, Luna could cut loose without harming her own troops. Levitating the 2 lances off her back, she gave them a few practice swings before charging down at Somra. Be with me this day, dear Symphony. I will avenge you and protect your kingdom in your stead. Luna screamed as she descended, letting her pent-up rage and sorrow over Symphony's death come to the surface. Somra summoned a large scythe and swung, connecting with her lances. Below, the armies of Meridor flooded into the city. The defenders easily give up ground as they charge, stirring excitement and vigor among the ranks as they charge faster, breaking their formation and running every which way in pursuit of the fleeing crystal ponies, who scattered and attempted to hide in nearby buildings. They followed, all too eager. Glory and the spoils of war were so easily in hoof. A slender figure caught the commander's attention, an armed mare fleeing into an abandoned building alone. Eagerly, he licked his lips as he leads his squad into the building after her. Meridor, despite its name, was short on mares, and he had enough of the changelings' imitations these past few months and was looking forward to the real thing. Come on, boys. Let's go get us some fresh fruit, the commander shouted, leading the way. They rushed into the building, scattering their numbers in search of the mare. They searched high and low and found no sign of her. Where is she? The commander demanded, savoring at his lips. Find her, or I'll have your head. No pony touches her till I do first. Sir, she's over there, some pony pointed to the building across the alley, where a mare stood waving at them with an element fire bow, an arrow primed and ready. Suddenly, the smell of oil and tar became very prudent, and she released the arrow and set the building ablaze. Commander, this is Hot Lips reporting in. Trap 139er have been executed with full effectiveness. We have a full house of burning rats. I repeat, full house. Hot Lips reported into her communication crystal. Roger that. Continue to rally point A as planned. Roger that. Hot Lips signing out. Hail Luna. All over the Crystal Empire, the invading forces were feeling the hurts as their first wave stalled. Many of their troops were lost to the defenders' traps. Buildings went up in flames, sometimes entire streets. Others were frozen over. The invaders' progress slowed as their ground forces were forced to watch their every step, and with their ranks broken, their communication lines were thrown into chaos. At first, a few groups simply bypassed the buildings, not bothering to check them, assuming they were just full of traps. These groups quickly found themselves as prey as the crystal ponies hidden inside as they flanked them from behind and left them for their friends to find. Other squads checked every building, sending 5 ponies in each to reduce casualties, while making sure they could hold their ground till help arrived. This proved to be a little more successful as they took out both trap and defenders. Then there were the squads that were destroying everything. These were the elite of Meridor, the black-clad unicorns that acted as Sombra's right hoof. They simply destroyed everything in their path, blowing up buildings with little regard for either side, and with their brutality, the battle began to shift in their favor once again. Fierce Fury and the aerial forces were in a tight spot. They were simply too few of numbers to stand up to the full might of Sombra's bat ponies and Chrissa's changelings. At first, they managed to lead a good chunk into the traps designed to take out flyers, and it worked very effectively too. It was a one-trick pony. For every flyer they killed, another took its place, and now they knew not to fly too low. Fury and his traps had to fight at their level. Stay close together. Don't let them separate you, he told his lancers as they charged straight into the fray. They punched a hole right through the center and made a quick retreat to the ground to cover fire from their unicorn squads. They continued this pattern, always making minor changes so the enemy couldn't counter so easily. However, by the 7th charge, Fury took notice that the fact that over half of his original 50 flyers were gone, and they were losing ground. So their unicorn squads were forced to move back. He looked towards Luna, who was engaged with Sombra in an epic battle no pony dared to intrude upon. He did not like that he was being pushed away from his princess, and rallied his troops to go and support her. They ripped through the enemy's formations and made a beeline for Luna when they were blindsided by Queen Crissa and her royal guards. Fury growled, breathing a steam of fire at the changeling queen. His winged pony, Stonewing, flew up beside him and stopped a group of changelings from attacking his flank. Stonewing stopped the attack, but went down with them. Do you really think you can win? Face reality, freak. The time of Celestia and Luna is over. The time reign of the changelings is now, gloats Crissa, dodging Fury's flames while blasting beams of green magic at Fury, who dodged and charged headlong at her. You are skilled. Too bad your friends were not up to par. Slowly, Fury turned his gaze downward. The bodies of his soldiers were still airborne as he watched them crash into the ground with bone-shattering cracks. The sound echoed in his ears, their broken forms forever buried in his mind. All of them were dead, and it was his fault. "I'll kill you!" screamed Fury as his body erupted into flames, startling Crissa as the changelings surrounded him. Flexing his claws, he dashed forward with complete disregard, ripping his way through the changeling ranks. "What's happening up there, Commander Shining Stone?" Captain of the Guard asked as he observed the battlefield from the Defender's command center. A couple dozen ponies worked tirelessly, relaying messages from the front lines. Their crystal communication networks went down several hours ago, so messenger ponies have been running back and forth between the front lines to communication open. A hastily scribbled note was shoved into his face. It read that the third barricade has fallen. One more and the armies of Mirador would be at their front door. "Miss Dusk!" "Yes, Commander," saluted Dusk, stepping forward. She was feeling antsy after she was ordered by Applejack to stay behind the castle, saying she was their last resort. She didn't know what she meant by that, only that she was getting the order that if the fourth barricade was in danger of falling, she was to attack with no restraint. "The time has come for you to put your talent to use. Get out there and support our retreat." Dusk saluted once more and left with the remaining guards to the fourth barricade. Already, Shadow and Bat Ponies were fighting their way through the defenses. Her and 20 crystal unicorns met up with the 4 barricade commanders. "Shining Silver, Shining Stone's son." "What's the situation?" shouted Dusk as she took cover behind a crumbling wall with the commander. 3 arrows embedded themselves into the wall ahead of them. 1 crystal unicorn stood up to return fire, only to get an arrow through the head. "That," pointed Shining Silver to the dead pony, "that's the situation. We're getting slaughtered out here. There's just too many to fight off. We're getting overrun. Watch out!" A shadow pony emerged from the wall, posed to strike. Shining Silver stabbed his horn into the pony's chest and tossed it over the wall. "Please tell me there is a plan." Dusk smiled awkwardly. "Yeah, me." "Oh, please tell me you are joking. What can one mare do?" Luna's a mare, and she does a lot, Dusk retorted. Shining Silver glared at her with a twitching eye. Right, no time for jokes. Just watch and be amazed. I hope this works. Dusk gathered magic into her horn, creating a sphere around herself. She leaped over the wall and charged towards the enemy lines, drawing their fire. Shadow ponies, bat ponies, changelings piled on top of her. She nearly buckled under the weight, but held firm and blasted her shield. Anytime today, she screamed as sweat dripped down her brow. Flashes of magic and everything from arrows to rocks flew overhead, knocking the enemy ponies off her shield. Taking a relaxing breath, Dusk focused her magic and fired magic drill bullets from her horn through her shield. The magic drills buried through rock barriers and magic shields alike, downing a dozen ponies in an instant. Morale surged for the defenders as the ponies began to attack in earnest, even managing to push the invaders back. Yeah, come on! Let's get them! A pony yelled, but she grabbed him by the leg and held him in place. What are you doing? Don't be stupid, she reported. Rushing in will get you killed. Shining Silver nodded. She's right, Breakhoof. Fortify our positions. Prepare for the next wave. The soldiers saluted and began remaking the barricades. Go on back and rest. We're going to need your strength, said Shining Silver, leading Dusk back behind the wall. You did well. Keep it up and we may make it out alive. A shakily smile worked its way onto Dusk's face. Shining Silver gave her a knowing look as he patted her on the shoulder before leaving to help the defenders. Once he was out of sight, her body began to shake as a veil filled her throat. She tried to keep it down, but it was no use. She ended up hacking up onto the ground. This wasn't her first kill, yet that didn't stop the shaking. She knew there were bad ponies. They probably killed a lot of ponies today, maybe even enjoyed it, but that didn't make her feel any better. She killed them, and there was no changing that. Next wave coming in! Dusk, we need you! Coming! Far up in the sky, Somra and Luna clashed. Sparks of explosions filled the sky as their attacks met. It's an impressive display, but that didn't mean the sides were even. Luna panted heavily, her coat soaked with sweat. Symphony's armor was heavier than her own, and her lances took much more magic to keep afloat than her star blades. Another problem was the alicorn amulet around Sombra's neck. Provides him with an extra source of power, extending his own stamina, while Luna was forced to rely on her own weighing strength. It's not too late to accept my offer, Luna. Join me and accept your new role as my mate. I'd rather die first, Somra, Luna spat, flinging her lances at the black stallion. Flying back, she fired 3 blasts of magic for good measure. Somra deflected the lances and blocked the spells. This marked irritating her to no end. Summoning her lances back, she blocked his scythe just in time, but the force of the attack made her aura waver for a moment, and she felt the tip of the blade press against her throat. Somra pressed harder, even pushing with his hooves. Luna called on her earth pony magic and countered his strength, but it wouldn't last. Already, she could feel the last of her reserves failing her. Somra's eyes lit with dark magic. Luna felt her mind go fuzzy for a moment before shaking it off. Your mind tricks won't work on me, Somra. The Unicorn King chuckled. Perhaps for now, but how long can you resist? You're fighting a battle on two fronts, Luna. Which will give first? Your body? Your mind? Your magic? Time will tell very soon, I believe. As much as she didn't want to admit it, he was right. She couldn't keep fighting like this. But what other options was there? She couldn't break off and retreat. He would surely follow her and attack her ponies below. No, she had to stay. She had to. That fireball with wings Is that a fireball with wings coming at her? Let her go! Fierce fury screamed, ramming into Sombra's side with his claws. Fury dug into the unicorn's sides, grabbing hold of the base of his right wing and shattering the bone. Come on, let's go, he shouted, dropping the Unicorn King and tackling Luna into a free-fall dive. The flames surrounding her body disappearing as they fell. Luna struggled in fierce embrace as she watched Bad Ponies come to Sombra's aid. He cursed at the missed chance to finish the Unicorn King off. However, something caught her attention as she felt Fury's claws dug into her side. His missing claw wasn't missing anymore. Prepare for landing, said Fury as they leveled out into a rough landing against the ground. Applejack and Dusk quickly rushed to their aid, both mares looking worse for wear. Before she could ask their condition, Sombra's voice echoed over the battlefield. The black stallion was grounded, but still kicking and looking very angry. Don't think any pony is getting out of here alive, Luna. You brought this fate upon them, and you will watch as I execute every last one of them, while you're helplessly chained by my side. Luna rose to her full height as her ponies rallied around her. Sadly, she gazed back at them. They all suffered so much for her, for their freedom, for each other. She wished she could tell them they would make it through, that all the suffering was not for nothing. But she could not. They would die here, with her, but they would die together. Gathering up her courage, she stood tall as she stared down Somra, prepared to face death. But then something shined in the distance, hidden by a blinding rays of the sun. Suddenly explosions blanked the enemy lines. Ponies scrambled to find out what was going on. But it was too late. Far too late. Something over the horizon was a sight no pony had ever seen before. A massive battleship sailing across a stream of clouds, filled with hundreds of battle-hardened night patrollers eager to fight. It was the Moon Cutter, and it brought a tear to Luna's eye when she saw the pony commanding it. Celestia, inside the Moon Cutter. We are in position, Princess. Orders. Celestia raised her hoof, her eyes hard like steel as she gazed out onto the battlefield. Attack! Ooh, it is getting intense in the Crystal Empire. What to say? Nothing to say. Except to the men and women of the military, all branches, all service, all nations. Thank you. I just hope this reading doesn't cause you to have relapses of PTSD or feeling sad about loss of comrades, friends, and family. Remember the good times you guys had together. Hold on to those memories. They are worth every bit of happiness. As I said before in my other videos, the holidays are around the corner. I will be continuing reading all 34 chapters. There are going to be no breaks, no matter how long or short these chapters may be. There are not going to be any part 1s or part 2s. So these videos are going to be ranging from 45 minutes to an hour long. I want to thank you guys for listening, and thank you for supporting me in doing this, especially Fox Gear, who gave me permission to read his amazing work. There was a comment Fox Gear made saying I should read more fandoms and do a feedback on them. Maybe. But first things first. 34 chapters. Then I'll go into more fandoms and give my review, my personal opinion on them. And another warning for this type of reading, or should I say for Night Patrol, there are going to be some dark moments in here. There are going to be some feels, there are going to be some tears. I'm going to do my best to maintain composure, but my OC is a bat pony with 2 special abilities, ice magic, and shadow casting. I created this OC because of Night Patrol. Because that's my character, member of the Night Patrol. He's not going to be in any of Foxgear's stories. He's not going to be in any of the fandoms. Unless I write the story myself or something else may happen. I'm going to sign off now and report back to my duties. Hope you guys have a wonderful night, and I'll see you all tomorrow.